Hey folks, welcome back to Game Garbage. We're going to take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course stream for fun when we can. Though we have been streaming Gears of War, Shepard and I, we're going to stream 1 through 5, also Judgment, and try to do all that before E-Day. So if you wish to join us, you can follow us over at Twitch at Don't Tread on the, have your notification on, and then also I will try to post on YouTube when we're actually about to go live. Wait, so the story. We have an alien invasion that comes from the ground, and the military bursts you out of jail to go fight. And we don't know what happened there, but hopefully they let us know in E-Day. The goal is ultimately to find a way to detonate the tunnels so that we can stop the invasion. So for the story itself of the game, yeah, we'll get to the remake in just a second. But yeah, what do you think of the story of Gears of War 1?
For a first game, like, the story's not too bad.
Yeah, I always thought like it kicks it off pretty quick, and like you're just thrust right into it really quick. So yeah, it's a good start, I think, and it's something too that everyone can relate to. Your home is being attacked, and you're fighting it now. You know, you're fighting to defend it, and I think everyone can identify with that. We used to have a lot of those, but now it's all kind of like more specific stories for certain characters. And not everyone can get behind that. So did you want to talk about that at all?
Are you talking about like the characters, or where are you asking?
Well, like what I'm talking about is like now we have a whole bunch of, just like the story is identifiable with everybody. We used to have a pretty good swath of masculine games, and I feel like that's actually what made 360 so popular. But we have a lot of games now, especially on the Sony side or some other studios, even with like Xbox or Nintendo, is that we've had a lot of IPs start with men or guys, and now we're moving toward women. And also, I think the visceralness of some games are played down compared to what they were. Just even seeing some of the stuff in Gears of War 1, it's like, oh, wow, you know? Like, I haven't seen stuff like that for a while. But today we have, in my opinion, a lot of watered-down stuff. Or we are focusing on the representation there. And I'm not talking about just, like, representation in a story. It's always been there for quite a long time, you know, since, like, Witcher 3, which is a pretty old game. But I'm talking about how, like, there is this supplanting now. Just like the newest Halo remake. There's a gal that is trying to equal herself to Chief about how she's as badass as he is, or even more so. And we all know that's just not true. So it's just, I don't know, just any thoughts on any of that?
Yeah, I was going to say, kind of related to what you're just saying about how, like, back in the day, like, the 360 generation had masculine games. I feel like the whole Brotherhood was a big core subject in a lot of those older games, like Gears 1. You know, you see the character development between Dom and Marcus, you know, the whole Brotherhood style story. And like,
I think it's cool, too, that that's flushed out, too, with the co-op.
Yeah, I definitely agree, though. It's like we completely went away from that, and that's one of the reasons I feel like Gears is such a popular game, is just because it emphasizes on that topic so heavy and hardcore, but also story game at the same time. Like, you know, really action packed. They did a really good job with, in my opinion, like doing a balance between the super hardcore, like gore and aggressive combat, but also the kind of character development and Brotherhood in the background or to the side as well.
Yeah, they did a good job meshing it all together.
Yeah, you don't really feel like one is overpowering the other. It's like it's taking over the whole game.
And I gotta say, too, like, I think they did a good job with ensuring that there's a human element to the game. It's not just about, like, I feel like character development today is like, oh, badass, that's all you need to know. There is time in the game to structure the whole story around the human element. And that's what you connect with as a player. That's why we love these characters. It's the same with COD, too. Captain Price, Soap. Like, we're never going to have those characters again. I really don't think they can make them. And so But yeah, they're designing everything wrong, and they don't see it that way. And the younger generations, I don't think they can see it either. They just don't know what they're missing. And
Yeah,
I think when they see that for the first time, or there's a game that really clicks for them, they're like, "Oh my word!" And then when they hear, it's like, "Oh yeah, almost all of the games were like that." And it's just cool to see, like you playing Gears for like the first time.
yeah. I didn't even play Gear. Like, think it was like I didn't know when I started. Probably maybe first time last year. Maybe I don't know. It wasn't that long ago. I regret not getting into it though when I was younger.
And yeah, I just think it's cool to see that like younger generations such as yourself are seeing how good the story is and the character development is. And like you know who Dom is. You know who
Yeah.
Marcus is, and like you're going to remember that for a while. The last several AAA or even AA games, I can't remember their names to save their life or
Oh,
my life,
same.
you know. Game mechanics, like using cover and swapping out weapons or being able to carry several, or like the mechanic of being able to throw a grenade or having to turn valves, push buttons, kind of like look around for things to interact with. How do you feel about like game mechanics in the game and like how they did the level design?
I feel like the level design was really good. Like, I feel like it was simple, but it also wasn't like too simple because like there was so much stuff like the cog tag that you could pick up. I can't remember. Uh, I feel like Reloaded might have added something else collectible wise, like that comic book. I think.
Yeah, they added comics and like some like cosmetic viewables or something.
Yeah, but like I like just how it has its simple level design. Like, yeah, you can still get confused, but it's not like too confusing. And like honestly, I think the controls and stuff and like everything works good. I think they did really good at choosing which buttons they chose for the controls. That's one
Oh
thing I
yeah, that's a
definitely
good
want to
point.
say because I feel like with games like Call of Duty, have the generic controls. I feel like Gears has it makes it where at first it seems a little bit more complicated, like for someone like me going from Call of Duty to Gears. But then once you play it and then you get used to it, it's like, wow, this is a lot more simpler than the original style that I was used to. And then it makes you appreciate what, you know, they actually put thought into stuff.
Yeah, you can see how they thought about ease of use. Like you still have to learn the new scheme, but I think it's actually really cool to have grenade be a separate button than a tab. Like I understand why COD does it the way they do it with using like the bumpers or L1 and R1 for grenades and concussions and stuff because it's just faster to tap that when you're
Yeah.
already using your index fingers to shoot and aim. But like it's really cool to actually reload that way. Your guns. And I like too the little like D-pad radial menu that you have. It's just a D-pad push. You know, it's not like holding the button and swinging the whole thing around, to try to select the item that you need, like in GTA or Red for Dead. And that works for when there's a lot more options, right? But I
Mm.
think just, yeah, the simplification of weapons, there's a little bit of variety there, but they're more focused on giving you the experience of the game and still, instead of giving you options in it. And I like
Another
that.
thing, another thing I want to add, like you just said about the reload button, I really like the fact how they reward you for being able to figure out your timing with having the quick reload as like a default thing. They don't just be like, "Oh, here's an added stupid attachment just to make everything complicated." No, here, here's something simple to figure out, and if you can figure it out, then you're gonna get rewarded. Which I noticed too. I don't know if this is like only in the reloaded version or if it's in the original or all of them. But if you hit it right, perfect reload, like right on the white line, I've noticed that your tracers for the bullets will be blue, so I don't know if that gives you actually more damage or something as well, like a
Oh, it
damage
might.
boost. Because I was noticing, I
Yeah, so
believe
there's
that's
some, like,
what Gears
skill there.
5 does. So yeah, like I really enjoyed how they did, like it's just a little simple thing that's like kind of subtle, but hey, if you're skilled enough or if you can be smart enough to get your timing right, then here's this. And all weapons are different. Like you had to kind of feel the rhythm in a way for like every different gun when you're reloading because you can't just keep doing it at the same speed. You have to kind of figure it out. I really like that, honestly. And also I like the whole fact how with the aiming down the sights, how they don't really have that other than the long shot, the sniper, because
Mm-hmm.
they did it so good where you don't really need it. In a game like Halo, I feel like you kind of need to aim down the sights with a lot of different guns, but I feel like the way Gears did it, they make it you really don't feel like you have to like aim down a scope or anything to get better accuracy or aim.
Yeah,
Feel
you
more
can still
arcadey,
shoot.
like an
And I
arcade
gotta say
machine.
too, that like the way they designed their bullet spread is pretty generous. And it does spread pretty wide regardless of weapon. So like there is a benefit to aiming, but now you can't really move. And when you're moving compared to just standing still, there's also more bullet spread there. Way, way, way more than COD, right? And
Yeah,
so COD, I feel like, has kind of ruined people to where they're so used to everything being laser sighted. And now I feel like, I mean, it's modern weapons, but I feel like Battlefield is kind of doing the same thing now to where they're not really accounting for movement too much or as much as they did. And so, like, Battlefield doesn't feel like Battlefield. It feels more like COD. And I liked it in, like, Battlefield 1, for example, just like what we're seeing in Gears, where there's there's a give and take on everything, and you have to choose when to move, when to aim, when to reload, all of that stuff, and you're rewarded for doing a good job and making those decisions. And then coupled with that, like you said, timing the reloading and like when to use grenades versus just chuck the grenade versus actually aim and chuck the grenade because again that takes
yeah,
more time and time is everything in that game and that's what makes the multiplayer I think so fun. It was the same thing with original Halo with multiplayer is like it was very much an arcade shooter. The only thing you could really aim down the sights was the excuse me,
sniper or the
was the
pistol.
sniper and the pistol, both of those. But everything else was basically you had to like kind of wing it, and I really liked that with like the assault rifles and stuff because that made everything kind of more visceral, and you had to time your melees and stuff so you could maximize damage and all of this other stuff. But like what they did with Halo 2. Especially Halo 3 is like they added battle rifles and they added more scopes to everything and it became this kind of like codification and it was more of a focus to push the multiplayer side instead of the story and character side of the game because people love these stories and games and the multiplayer kind of couples in with that really well because you care about the game. But when you don't have any story or character development that you care about or any at all and you just do the multiplayer, well, it's hard to be attached because then the only thing you care about is how well you do in the game in multiplayer. And that's not everybody. And this is why I think every single time we have a multiplayer experience, it just quickly, faster and faster, every next game, like COD, next down the sweatier and sweatier players, and all of the casual ones basically quit pretty quick.
Yeah,
So yeah, I like the designs like Gears because they're putting emphasis where it emotionally matters. Anything else on game mechanics
um,
or level design?
I think the cover is pretty good. I like the whole way they do the how you can take cover.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like is when you have to take cover to jump over. I think that's annoying.
Yeah,
That would be one thing that I would like to see fixed. Performance. What do you think of like the graphics and how it runs? Did you see any dips in frame rate, weird lines in the uh, cutscenes or in the gameplay itself?
it was pretty smooth to me. I didn't really notice anything. The graphics looked really, really good though. Like I don't know what is it Unreal Engine 5 or whatever they're on, but
Yeah, it's
it looked
Unreal Engine
really
5 in
good.
this one.
Yeah, they looked real crisp and ran really smooth and
Very stable game in Unreal Engine 5, which is surprising. Now, this review is like a year late from the initial launch. So let me know if it was actually bad, or if there were issues, but I never really heard any performance issues. I did hear there was some bugs, and I'm sure they have fixed some of those. But yeah, very stable game. I'm consistently getting 58 to 60 frames, which is great. And I'm running this on a Series X with an LG C4 TV, which has VRR anti-aliasing stuff. It's actually a pretty nice TV. But yeah, it actually runs really, really good for what it is. They did a good job. There is some aliasing issues in the cutscenes, though. And it's not every cutscene, which is interesting, because what we're able to see is that there's kind of a line or maybe a couple of lines. Again, they're small. They're not necessarily easy to see, but they are toward the top of the picture during the entire cutscene. But again, it's not for every single one, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But it is very good for Unreal Engine 5. Usually the optimization is horrible. Sometimes the optimization also never gets fixed in some of these games. But yeah, this was actually a nice surprise.
And then, yeah, what about the glitches side? So sometimes what we'll see with remasters or remakes is that we'll have these extra glitches or things that are still not fixed from the original. And did you see any of those?
Definitely the chainsaw wouldn't work.
Yeah, you tried quite a few times, right?
Yeah. And that was also happening in the original one when I played the first one on the 360. I can't remember. Didn't it like bug out on us where we couldn't get through like a door or something? We had to like die, and then I can't remember.
Oh
I
yeah, no, you're right.
A couple of times of
We
that happening.
we had an issue where we had actually wiped out all the enemies, but like the door hadn't opened that we needed in a house or in a manor. And so we didn't know what to do. We were kind of running around and we're like, I'm not really seeing anything. And so did we end up dying or something? Anyway, we just tried it again, and then it worked the second time. We wiped out everybody. We got some audio that came on between the characters in the game, and then, yeah, the door was open. And so it was like, oh, cool. There was something, too, where it can be seen as a mistake, but, like, there's also some... It's hard to tell exactly which doors to open, or you can open. So you go to each door to see if you can open it. And sometimes you kind of tell within that level which ones you can open after a while. Like it has to be wood inlaid or like made out of metal, or it has to have a certain kind of like light off to the left corner. And so like you start to recognize which doors you can actually open after a while, but like that kind of gets frustrating because there's so many doors in some of the levels.
Yeah, it's like Halo. It's like that was one thing that I didn't like about Halo is there's so many issues, so many places that looked exactly the same. You'd be going in circles or trying to figure out where in the hell the door was, and then you'd just be like getting frustrated and just that's how
the library
I was.
is really bad for that.
Oh yeah.
The library is a bad one. So yeah, that's something that we see in these older games in 2000s is like they have this issue with guidance, and like some of the game that you're spending is just running around. Are there any other like quality of life improvements you think would have been good for the game?
FOV for field of view.
Oh yeah, field of view. That's a good point right there. So yeah, making sure that some of those progression bugs are fixed too would really help, I think, with the experience.
I definitely agree with that. Maybe do better about making the running smoother, but I don't know really.
Oh, yeah.
How.
Well, I even think the running is kind of worthless because you can't really turn. I mean, you can't really turn anyway when you're sprinting, right? But the way they have you sprinting, it's not really that much faster anyway. It's like a 10% or 15% increase to your movement. It's really not that fast. And it would be nice, and you get the whole camera jiggle and everything, and so it looks kind of badass, or it looks like you're in it.
The camera shake, yeah. Or the
motion
blur.
And how close you are to the ground, so you can't really see. So again, that's kind of that give and take like we were talking about earlier. You got to figure out when to sprint or not.
Another kind of reason or thing that I would change is if be able to kind of look around better, like when you're running instead of just at the ground all the time.
And I would like to see it too, where you actually have faster movement. and then when you're trying to find which door to open, or you're trying to find dog tags, it takes time to do that. And especially when you go the wrong way, again, you're like, oh frick, because you know it's going to take time to turn around and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be nice if we could actually sprint and kind of see where we're going, but maybe increase damage value. Like how much damage you take is a lot higher if you get hit or something. You know, still keep that give and take with a lot of mechanics that they have, but I think actually being able to move would be nice in the game. Closing thoughts on the game and the remake, or I guess it is a remake. Yeah.
Good product to introduce it to the PlayStation fans since it's their first time experiencing it. I think it was pretty polished. Like they did really good making sure to make it visually look really pleasing and look really modernized. Because obviously those older games in the 2000s kind of had that piss filter era, so
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where everything's yellow.
yeah, and it just kind of was a lot more clearer. Um,
Color palette was a lot better too.
yeah, yeah. Overall, I think it was a solid remaster. Or, yeah, a solid remaster, but that wasn't like extraordinary, but it wasn't bad either. It was just kind of like a
It
good
was
kind
pretty
of.
good.
It was a good
Yeah.
faithful remaster.
Yeah. And it definitely feels like Gears 1.
Yeah, I definitely
And I'm
agree with
glad too
that.
that like the cost isn't super high. It's not a $70 game.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's nice whenever they do these remakes or remasters, that they're not like doing a massive price increase and like it's a premium experience and then they weren't faithful to it. Or, excuse me, or some of the bugs are original or still there that they did not fix, or they added new bugs. I always worry about remasters and remakes because the quality can be so deteriorated compared to what you would want, you know. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, it's nice to see that they actually did a pretty good job. What would be your rating for the game?
like just an overall rating.
Yeah,
Um,
like 1 out of
like
10. What would you give it? 10
like
being amazing, 1 being horrible.
like comparing it to the original one on the 360, or just in general.
Just in general um, as a remake game of the original and how it's built in the engine, like everything we just talked about, story, game mechanics, performance glitches, and closing thoughts. Like what would you rate the whole gaming experience that you had?
I'd I'd honestly give it a out of 7.5 or an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, that's a pretty good score.
Because I mean,
What would be some things you would like change if you could? Would there be anything else besides like some of the quality improvements or like fixing the glitches? But like maybe would you have added a few missions or would you have changed something else?
um, yeah, I think if they would have added a couple more like bonus missions or something, or I don't know, maybe some almost like a I don't know if they would have had it revealed at the time of that release, but if they almost gave you like a pre-sneak to like E-Day or something,
Ooh, that would have been cool. That
or
actually
like,
would be cool.
or even just a bonus mission giving you more story on Marcus's dad or something, since like someone just plays one and they just hear about him, but they don't really know other than
Or
what they
even
barely
just
heard.
the yeah, or even just maybe the option to see why he's in jail.
Hmm.
Maybe that's the whole
Yeah,
point of like
yeah,
what E-Day is for, right? But they're busting him out and it's like, okay, what happened? And I expect E-Day to go through that, but it kind of would be cool, like you said, to see like a sneak peek of like why he's in jail, because that's the first thing that we see when we start playing the game. Yeah, I guess my score real quick. Yeah, I would give it a 7. Like a solid low 7. And that's just because of some of the glitches, some of the bugs, just some of the stuff that we talked about. Like, it's a fun experience. It's also fun running through the nostalgia, but too, it's cool to appreciate how they made and designed games back then, and how faithful the remake is to that. And so it's really cool to see like the choices you have to make, the way the game mechanics are made. While some of them are frustrating, the overall experience is very haptic. There's a feeling to the gameplay and to shooting, and like the sound design is there, which I guess we didn't talk about that, but I forgot that. But I guess the sound design is also pretty good. Like the weapons feel punchy, your boots on the ground, jogging or sprinting are kind of powerful and thudding into the ground. And like you really feel like you're there, which is cool. And then the way when the controller does and doesn't shake, compared to what's going on in the game, is cool. And then yeah, I guess too, yeah, kind of the buddy system, the way they've designed the co-op, and like if you're dead, you can still get picked up, and so like there's some cool things to the game that I think the newer modern games are missing. And even on normal, I still have to rely on you playing the game. Because if you're off somewhere else and I'm in trouble, like the game's over for me, right? I'm dead. Even on normal, there were some pretty tough areas there. And so I miss the ability of co-op, and there being a reliance instead of just one man armying and everything now. And then the devs casualizing the games so much today so that you can one man army the whole thing. And I think that sucks, because it's not very satisfying. And it's not very memorable either. And with a game like this, and we are going to play through number 2, by the way, I think overall it's a fun experience. I think as a remake they did a pretty good job. I still think in some aspects the water looks either really good or kind of trash. Like when we had to open the valve for some water to come out and dump onto the fire so we could move on through the atrium there. That water looks pretty trashy compared to like the reflections and pools and stuff that we see in some previous levels.
It was amazing compared to that.
Yeah. So like there's still some issues there. Also too, some of the fires had like weird frame rate issues. Frame rate was a lot lower of the fire than like the rest of the game as it's rendering. So we get to see that too in remasters and remakes. And yeah, that was definitely present. But yeah, that's why I give it a solid 7. Like it's a pretty good remake. Would I want to pay $70 for it? No. I would want to pay more like 50 or 40. And I think the fact that we have multiplayer coupled with the game is nice for the option for people to do that. But yeah, as a game and a remake, I think it's a solid 7. So any other closing thoughts, or are we done?
That's all that I got.
So just a reminder, we will continue on through Gears 2 through 5. We will stream those. You're welcome to come join us. But it is not a perfect stream. So if you don't really have a ton of patience or would rather spend your time doing something else, that's totally okay. It is what it is. But if you want to join us, that would be fun too. And again, we're trying to get all of this done and the reviews just like these all done before E-Day. And Shepard and I will be working through every single one for these reviews. And yeah, you can join us at Twitch again at Don't Tread on Thee. Make sure your notifications are on. And I'll try to remember to post on YouTube before we go live with the link so that you can take a look. So anyway, thanks again. We'll see you guys on the next one.